Hey, hi YouTube, hi everyone. I hope you all guys are doing great. In this video, we are going to see another creation design pattern. Till now, we have seen factory and builder pattern. So today, we are going to see prototype pattern. Prototype pattern is much more simpler, and I guess you all will be using it unknowingly. Okay, so but definitely, we are going to see what actually prototype pattern is. And definitely, all the code will be available in this GitHub repo, which I will be adding in the description box below. And if you definitely we are going to see all the two other patterns also, object pull and single pattern. Single pattern is also simple and object pull pattern is also simple but yet very useful. So we are also going to see it. So if you subscribe me, you will get a simple notification whenever we upload video on also these patterns. So let's see what is actually prototype pattern is. Okay, so let me just run to VS Code, and I'm going to use Python because Python is the simplest language in this planet, very close to English. So first of all, let's see what actually prototype pattern is. Instead of creating new objects from scratch, clone an existing prototype and then modify is really useful. So here you can see, okay, see, without prototype pattern, let's suppose you have a project template which is having name, readme content, and dependency. So you will, if you have to create an object of project template as e-commerce app, you add a name as e-commerce app, some readme content, and some dependencies. Let's suppose now you have to create a blog app. Maybe you will use the same template, project template, blog app, readme content here is same. If you can see, just the dependencies and the name is changing. So if you print it, basically we print it like this. So e-commerce app, blog app, and content and dependency. Okay, so now I'm printing as dict basically because we don't have a I can say string or representation method here. Basically, method is really helpful to print the objects, but I'm not touching that for now. Just we can use dict also. Okay. So what the problem here is, because we are recreating the objects from scratch. Okay. So let's suppose there are 10 such parameters. Okay. I have just taken three parameters here, and this readme content is common in both the object creation. But let's suppose there are 100 such parameters, and let's suppose 50 to 60% are matching. And every time we are creating the objects from scratch, even if they are 95, 65% similar to the existing one. So this is not good. Okay, instead, whenever we are initiating an object, it is basically duplication is there. Okay, so how it can be better, basically this is how we can make the previous code as a prototype pattern. So in project template, we are having constructor here in init as a init, and we also have a clone feature or clone function. So what it will do, copy dot deep copy. So if you don't know about deep copy, you should learn about. We have two types of copy, swallow and deep copy. Deep copy basically copies everything of that object. Okay, if we have like everything. Okay, but shallow copy just copy the skeleton, and also deep copy is really helpful if you want to copy each and everything. Okay, and it is provided by just import copy. Okay, so we have like we also have a clone function. Now let's suppose we created a base web template which is having just the base one, like base web app. This is then base web app template, and dependency initially is Flask and SQL Alchemy. Let's suppose we thought that okay, every template will have at least this thing, like Flask dependency and Alchemy dependency. Now, if you want to create a variation, instead calling this project template again, we can just use a clone of the template that we have already created, and we can only modify the things that we want to modify, like name and dependency. As we know, README content will be similar. Let's suppose there are 100 such you can say parameters. Now, this instead changing these 100 parameters, we instead initializing these 100 parameters, we can just clone it, and just let's suppose there are two or three parameters that need to be changed, we can just change it. Like here, the app name has been changed to e-commerce app, and we have just added one dependency which is Stripe API. So Flask, Alchemy, and then Stripe API. But in case of, let's suppose, blogging app, we know we don't want a Stripe API dependency. We just want a markdown parser. So Instead creating that object from scratch, we have just cloned the base web template and then we have changed the name and just we have added one more dependency which is markdown parser. As simple as that. Now if you print e-commerce app, you will see the app name has changed, but the readme content is same, and in dependency we have added one dependency which is stripe API. In case of blog app, the name of the app is blog app. Still the readme content is similar because we have just cloned the base web template, and in dependency we have added just a markdown parser, and the basic base web template remains unchanged. It is the same that we have created: base web app, readme content, and dependency. So if you just go with this method, it looks very ugly. Let's suppose every time whenever you have to create a template, let's suppose there are 100 parameters, you have to pass it. And basically we can also use builder pattern here, because we have seen builder pattern useful in this such cases, because let's suppose we have 100 of parameters and we don't want to expose which class is there. But I don't want to go into builder pattern now because I have already covered it. You can watch in the previous video. But keeping that thing aside, if you have to pass 100 parameters, it will look very very ugly, although some like 95% or 65% parameters are same. So why don't we just add a copy function here, and just let's suppose we have a template that has already been initialized. We can just use it and just change the two or three parameters and we can get a object here. So this type of this is what we have a prototype. So we have a prototype and then we are creating the variations of prototype. Okay, that's it. It's very very super simple. Now when to think about prototype? So when object creation is expensive, like due to computation, DB calls, network fetching, because at the top, if you have read, I have also written it. So this is useful when cost of creating and configuration an object is high, like a lot of setup is required, or external API calls is required, or expensive computation is required, or complex graph structure is required. So we can keep it at once like this. So we have created a base template. We have called everything expensive APIs, all things, and then we are just creating clone of it and using it. Okay. So many objects, let's suppose, are similar but differ in only a few properties. And if let's suppose you want to avoid subclass explosion, create one prototype and tweak it simply. So what actually are the advantages here? So if I want to tell you the advantages of it, it will be it reduces the creation cost because you have creating just once and then you are using it. Simplifies creation of similar objects. The code is also more readable. It avoids repeated setup because we are just cloning the things and we are tweaking with the things that we need to be changed. What are the limitations? So deep versus shallow copy. This copy is a bit complex because we have to use deep copy most of the time, as it copies everything. Okay. If object has hidden dependency, cloning may break. Maybe the cloning can also break if there are some hidden dependency. But and if this kind of limitation you are not facing, then definitely can go with prototype pattern. So whenever, like I have already told you that whenever creation is expensive, you don't want to initialize the object every time. Most of the object looks similar kind of thing. You want to avoid subclass explosion, then definitely you should go with a prototype pattern. That's all. I think this is the most simplest pattern. In the next video, we are going to see again a simple pattern, which is singleton pattern. But most of the time, it is asked in an interview, and also it's really really helpful. So meet you in the next video where we are going to see singleton pattern. So I will upload this code in the GitHub repo. You can just check it out and play it along with me. That's all. Meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Thank you. Have a great day.